Hi everyone, this is a quick video to show you how to access and complete your student learning outcome assessments. So we're going to start from the West LA homepage, www.wlac.edu. Once you're here, please click on the faculty and staff link in the top right, and you'll see under instructional resources, the SLO tab, the SLO link. This will guide you to the SLO homepage. There are a couple important things here. For example, you'll see the SLO calendar, and this shows you when programs or divisions are scheduled to assess. Oftentimes, we're scheduled to assess in the fall, but if a class is not offered until the following spring, we assess that class at the end of the spring. If you click on the SLO homepage, you'll be able to access TracDat, and that's the software system we use to input our SLO assessment data. It's where we hold our data. Your username is your email username, and the default password is GoWest, capital G, capital W, followed by an exclamation point. By the way, your username is also the beginning of your email address. It doesn't necessarily include the @LACCD or @WLAC.edu. If for some reason you're not able to access TracDat, please email WLAC-SLO@LACCD.edu, and we'll be able to reset your password for you. There's also some really helpful handbooks and videos and tutorials that are also here to support faculty and staff as they submit their assessments. So once you click on the TracDat link, you'll be able to log in. And the top here, you want to go to course SLOs in your particular program or department. So I'm in Communication Studies. I'll go to Course SLOs Communication Studies. You want to make sure that this top drop-down box is at the course SLO level, so you'll be able to access your assessments. Once you're there, you'll click on Course SLO, the tab on the left, and then Assessment and Dialogue. And this is where we'll be able to find all of our pre-populated assessments. We pre-populate assessments for faculty, so you don't have to create a new assessment. Rather, you'll have to find your assessment under each course SLO that you're assessing and edit that assessment to input your data. This drop-down box shows us the courses that are offered in my program. And say I'm going to go to COM 121 Interpersonal Communication. So now that I'm here, I'll see one archived SLO and two current SLOs. We don't assess any of the archived SLOs. That's just previous SLOs that have been changed or updated. So we want to leave those alone, but we'll go to the current ones. So if I click on this drop-down box right here, I notice that there aren't any SLO assessments yet because we haven't had to assess when we update our SLOs. So I'll show you a previous one. I'll click on this drop-down box. And then I'll click on more. Sometimes you have to click on more to find your name. And here we go. There are two buttons right here. You don't want to click the delete, you want to click the edit button. And this is where you go in and you edit and complete your assessment. Some of this information is already pre-populated, like the date and your name and the section number, perhaps your division and the phase, but there are boxes that you'll have to input. The two most important boxes happen at the end, data analysis and conclusion. If we leave these empty, then the TracDat doesn't recognize our assessment as complete. So if you're opening up a assessment that you've never edited, you'll see some generic language about, please complete your data analysis. You have to delete that and then input your own information. And this box right here basically asks that once you report your SLO data, it asks for an interpretation of the results. Do students have a high rate of exceeding or demonstrating the SLO? What factors may have contributed to this? And a little bit of a discussion. The conclusion criteria is either met or not met. And that means that did the students meet the SLO? And the criteria and the assessment methods are actually in TracDat. If you look right here for comm studies, we say students have met the SLO if 70% of students achieved it. And then we explain the method we're going to use to assess the learning outcome. So you'll want to put the method, we use an exam, and then its total number of students who were enrolled at the time of the assessment, how many students actually completed, and then how many students exceeded, demonstrated, and did not demonstrate. And then in the boxes above, we explain what it means to exceed in the assessment, what it means to meet the assessment, and what it means to not meet the assessment. And we want to make sure that all of these three numbers add up to the total number of students we assessed. If for some reason you just assess your SLO as demonstrated or do not demonstrate, then you would leave exceed blank, and then you would put all of the students, the number who achieve the SLO, and this box right here. The faculty dialogue box explains like how we talk about student learning outcome assessments with our colleagues. So aside from us teaching our courses and assessing in our own classrooms, oftentimes we're talking about curriculum development, student success, achievement gaps, supporting our students, and we're talking about all the different ways we're revising and updating our curriculum based on the assessments we have in class. So the faculty dialogue box is a great opportunity for us to just report how we're having conversations across campus in our programs and our divisions about teaching and learning. So we might talk about, the ways that we're collaborating together to address students learning in the classroom. We might also identify specific strategies that we want to employ to increase our success rates or to improve our assessments, to change our assessments, or things we want to do in the classroom. And that's when we can reflect on that right here. Sometimes we'll make changes based on the assessment. And some of those changes are like how we approach our course content in the classroom. So we might report that, you know what, after taking a look at this data, I'm going to change the way I approach a topic in my class. And that's changes to pedagogy. And sometimes we'll want to upload the course outline or record. We might want to review the objectives, update the student learning outcomes, add new textbooks or new resources that we're using. We might want to update the modalities in which we teach the class. So therefore, we're going to click changes of the COR or none. The action plan is kind of like what are the specific steps we're going to do based on this analysis and based on assessing our courses. And then there are a few more boxes that have to do with program review, any resource requests that we might want to have to support student learning, any actions that will be taken, and then any final comments. And to learn more about each box, you just click on the question mark right there and it explains it. You can save at any time and then return and come back to your assessment. So you don't have to do it all at once. Last, we also ask that you attach samples. So for example, if you have a written assignment that assesses your student learning outcomes, you might attach some student examples, those who have exceeded the SLO, those who have achieved it, and those perhaps who maybe did not demonstrate it. You might upload the instructions or different examples of how students are meeting the SLOs. And to do that, you click on this button right here to relate a document. But for you to be able to relate a document, you have to go to Documents and the document repository. And then you'll see for the course SLOs, I'll see a folder right here. I could also create a new folder. I can create a new folder. And I can also upload documents right here. Here are the folders in which I can upload to. So once I have my documents in the document repository, when I go to my SLO assessment, click on Edit Analysis, go all the way down, and then I can click Relate the document, and I can find the folder of where the document is. And then you might want to label the documents or your files with your last name so it's easy to find and the date, and you can just drag and drop and then hit Complete. And then you'll be able to see these documents that are in the repository attached to your assessment. And again, those are samples. And ideally, if we're using the exceeded, demonstrated, and did not demonstrate, we have an example from each of those criteria. And then if you have multiple SLOs, you complete each assessment for each SLO that's associated with the course. And if you have multiple sections, we assess every section that we teach when our program or department is due for assessment. So that's a quick overview on how to submit your student learning outcomes in TracDat and how to attach student samples, and a little bit about the different components of the assessment form.